We are here with Thomas and Samantha, and Thomas happens to be one of my oldest, closest friends. It's been an absolute honor to be able to help him and his wife, Samantha, with their finances. So guys, welcome. Please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your experience with the big split so far.
Yeah, no, thank you, Lucas.
So much.
It's been quite a wild ride, actually. My name is Thomas. This is my wife, Samantha.
I'm also known as Wifey.
Yeah, wifey. We are in sales, and we, about 9 months ago, found out how much of an insurmountable amount of debt we had, which was daunting. We joined the big split, and, it took less than 9 months for us to pay off almost six figures of interest-bearing debt, which was pretty crazy.
It's emotional to think you paid off six figures. You don't really realize the financial or emotional impact that it has on your life.
Yeah.
So we learned so much from the process.
Hands down, it was like the biggest weight off of our shoulders. And once we finally did get all that debt paid off, it was almost like, what do we want to do with our money? There's so many options now.
The fact that you've been able to burn through it so quickly has been incredibly impressive. So thank you guys. Most people have issues with their money because they are afraid to look at how deep the hole is that they're in. With that being said, I wanted you to run your numbers, your income, your expenses, and your debts. Tell me what it was like for you.
It was hard for me to wrap my head around where I was at.
But we didn't actually know how much debt we had.
Yeah, we didn't know what the amount was. It was crazy.
It just kept racking up and racking up. But there was no end picture, light at the end of the tunnel. But
it was kind of hopeless. You know what I mean? We laid it out all on paper. We made a plan, separated things out the way it's supposed to be. And then all of a sudden I was like, well, this is crazy. I actually could have this all paid off and actually have money in the bank, and not realizing that the way we were looking at money was that the money was the problem, and it wasn't. It was the way we were handling the money when we were getting paid. And the crazy thing is that they don't teach this in school. And What you have is such a unique program because it's a fundamental knowledge people should have.
Yep.
And most people don't.
How were you handling your money? Were you budgeting at all? Were you tracking anything? What was going on in your life for that to happen?
Well, so, I mean, it's like something you almost have shame for, that you allowed it to happen to your finances. But I think this is really common amongst people. We're not all taught how to handle money. So we would get paid. Usually on a Friday, you go out dancing, you go out partying, you go out and do stuff. And then all of a sudden, at the end of the weekend, you're like, all right, now I'm going to pay my bills, and whatever's left goes to bills, and you don't have any money left in your pocket. So that's kind of how it was for us. We were charging cards, putting it on the back burner, not really paying any mind to it. And it just accumulated.
Yeah. So before the big split, I would say,
like, making good money and still paycheck to paycheck.
Yeah.
It's kind of crazy.
Yeah.
And it's, I would share that it's fairly common. Most people think that, well, when I start making more money, I'll no longer have any problems, but that's
more money, more problems.
Yeah. I mean, that's what that's pointing to. It's like throwing fuel on the fire. You get more money, and if you already have those issues, they just get worse.
I can tell you that's true, because that was how we were doing it before. And even though things had changed where more income was coming in the last year, prior to that, we still made okay money, but we weren't applying it properly. So we literally watched that debt grow.
So in the big split, we talk about demolishing your debt, of course. And often if you have a lot of debt or you just want to get that out of the way, that's generally what most people start with. But equally as important is paying yourself, taking care of you, growing your savings, whether you're buying a house, a rental property, whatever it is. So I know that you guys, because you had a lot of debt to start with, that was the primary focus. But I also know that you started contributing to your savings fairly quickly. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
We wanted to make sure that not all of it just went to debt, even though that was the thing we wanted to tackle first. So we took your advice and we started with a really small percentage that went towards our savings and then put the majority of it towards the debt. You had mentioned in the beginning, take care of the smaller accounts first to achieve these little goals. And I completely agree with that. But if we had one large loan that all of the interest was front loaded in the beginning. So if we had taken time to pay that off, we were just paying interest and not principal. So we tackled that first. And we were in a position to tackle it first, but we did slowly start to increase the amount of money that we put towards the savings as that debt went down, and we let it shift just like this. So ultimately, our debt went way down and our savings went way up. And it was just the biggest weight off our shoulders. It was crazy.
Yeah, that's great to know. And I just want people out there to know that part of the big split is you are splitting your money to different areas of your life that require it. And while getting rid of debt is obviously very important and liberating, so is taking care of you. And that's something that we focus on here. So I'm glad that you guys could experience that for yourself and kind of navigate that. So just out of curiosity at this point, we've got about 90K of debt, or maybe even a little slightly more than that, paid off. And then what, like 40 or 50 in savings at this point? Or what do you?
It's a bit more than that. About 70 in savings right now.
Wow. Okay. And that's all.
It took 90 down and 70 up. And it was like, wow, how did that just happen so easily?
Yeah. And that's less than 12 months. We're not even at the 12-month mark yet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Cool. That's, I've got to be honest, you blew every expectation I've had of the big split out of the water, which was also why I wanted to get you on here to share this, because while your situation is unique to you guys, the fact that the possibility is there for people is pretty inspiring.
Had we stuck to our old ways, we would have applied that money to something else.
Yeah.
And we would, at the end of the day, had nothing to show for it and still had all this debt. And instead, it's the opposite.
What are things like right now, day to day with you? How has the big split made a difference for you guys?
Our day-to-day life has changed drastically. First off, the amount of stress that has been lifted off our shoulders, it's large. I mean, now we're much more positive, much more happy. We don't have this worry. We also don't have this shame that was following us around for so long. And I think that's probably the biggest aspect of it, because it changed the way we looked at money. Mm-hmm. So, before, money was a burden. It was a hindrance. It was negative. Now it's not that way. Yeah. And we used to go to the store and we'd have to calculate, like, okay, well, we're going to buy these things, but now we need to make sure we still have money for these credit cards that we got to pay down. Yeah. And now it's the opposite. We go to the store and I don't look at it. I don't question it. I don't think about it. And it's because the way the big split works is to build up these accounts. So even our debt account, even our lifestyle account have cushions in them. Yeah. So we're no longer looking at these accounts as there's only enough money in there to take care of what it needs to take care of exactly. We have more freedom because we kind of have like a savings account in every account. Yeah. So day to day has been amazing. It's been life-changing for us. It was great to see the debt go down. That feeling is, it's priceless. Yeah. But to have the savings go up, it's almost like a flux of adrenaline. Yeah. It's a weird thing that it's hard to describe, but it definitely makes us think about things more, where we might normally have said, let's go get sushi and blow $150. Well, instead of doing that now, we might not put it in our savings and just watch that grow.
One of the other things you had mentioned to me, and this surprised me, this was a very pleasant surprise. Now, I want to be clear to people out there watching, I'm not advocating for this. This is not anything that I guarantee. But Thomas, your credit score changed tremendously since you started this. And I'm assuming it's because you've paid off so much of that debt. I am not a credit expert. The Big Split is not a credit expert. We're not here to say that we can improve your credit, but I would like you to share what has happened since the time that you've been splitting your money with your credit.
Yeah. That was really an unexpected outcome. I didn't realize how much debt to income affects your credit score. So we were like mid 600s when this was going on. Perfect payment history, always. I've never late on anything, but mid 600s, couldn't break that. We thought, oh, it must be because we have a house or we have a car loan. Once we got the debt paid off, it took about 2 months before we thought about checking our credit. And we went from mid 600s to just about 800. And we were floored. I was like, whoa, that's amazing. And that's another aspect that is so positive, because now you realize, like, I can kind of do what I want to do. If I have savings and I have good credit, now I can choose whatever I want to do.
Exactly. And that, I'm glad you shared that. And again, I want to say I'm not promising that that's going to happen to your credit. But what I will say is that the Big Split system, the method that you're learning, it does teach you how to get organized and clean up all the clutter and the mess. Like, I know you guys used to have 13 credit cards. But when you start cleaning these things up,
that out loud.
It's all good. It's all good. But like, that's what we show you in the Big Split is like, let's clean all this stuff up. Let's get rid of all the unnecessary financial noise, as I call it. Let's simplify and let's really focus in on the few things that are actually important. And since you guys have done that, I think that that's a byproduct, seeing the credit score change. And I think that what you just spoke to there at the end is the possibilities, the options, because this isn't about having more money. That is a byproduct of the Big Split, and that is nice. It does tend to feel a little bit better, but it's about having this sense of freedom, especially from that confinement, that prison that you may be in when you're struggling. And that's the real thing that I like to point out to people. Obviously, it's awesome to see you, like you said, you pull out the bank app and you see that amount of money in your account, and like, hey, let's get an investment property, or let's build a business, or whatever it is you want to do. Having those options is pretty fantastic, but those are a direct result of you taking action, cleaning things up, simplifying your financial life, and just going from there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, the unexpected outcome was having the savings grow that quick too, and watching those fluctuate like that.
Yeah,
and going from a high debt to a low debt, low savings to a high savings. Your outlook on everything is much different. We're looking into investment properties. Maybe help out one of our parents and put them into a home so they don't have to worry about rent anymore.
Yeah.
Ultimately, maybe build a real estate portfolio.
I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off, but are you saying that you are thinking about getting a rental property to move one of your parents in to like help them?
Yeah.
That's incredible. I've got chills, because going from a place of almost $100,000 in debt to a place where you can now give back to family members, that's incredible. Yeah. That I have actual chills. You can't see, but I do.
Actually. Yeah, no, it's it almost makes you a little emotional, like, I'm not trying to get all like mushy or anything like that, but
sure.
I think that you go from being in a bad spot to like now taking care of family.
Yeah.
That's a really cool feeling.
For anyone out there that doesn't know, one of the things that we do in the Big Split is what I call the money splitting ritual. Now, the purpose of this is to make splitting your money fun. Just to give an example, my ritual is each time I receive money and I split it up, I yell out, arigato, which is thank you in Japanese. So I'm thanking my money on the way in and thanking it on when I split it up. Now, Thomas and Samantha have an interesting story on how they created their money splitting ritual.
Samantha and I both are big soccer fans, and we set a goal that we had in mind. It was something we wanted to accomplish. So what better tagline than goal? Yeah. So we were in a Wells Fargo opening our new accounts when we got the whole process started, very committed. And didn't let the gentleman know who was setting up our account what we were about to do, but he was the first one to split our money when we set up the account. And both Samantha and I went, goal! And everybody in the bank turned and didn't know what was going on. I think we really freaked a bunch of people out, actually.
Yeah.
But it was absolutely hilarious.
So now, of course, you guys yell out goal every time you split your money. Is that correct?
And it puts a smile on our face. It makes us laugh, keeps it humorous and light.
Well, thank you. I sincerely appreciate both you and Samantha showing up for this, for totally kicking ass with it. I mean, what you guys have done in the short amount of time has been mind-blowingly amazing to watch. I'm super excited to see where this leads you next. So as we wrap up, first off, thank you for that. Thank you for you guys showing up each day and splitting your money and sticking to it. Some people don't stick with it, and so it doesn't work for them. So thank you for doing that. And then lastly, if you could tell anyone out there that's in $90,000 of debt or $3,000 of debt, or they don't have a problem with debt, but they have zero savings, nothing to show for their money, living paycheck to paycheck, what would you say to them about the big split?
Regardless of what somebody's situation is, whether it's a lot of debt or just no savings or bad credit or what have you, do it, stick to it, follow the process. That's probably the most important thing I can say. Following the process is what'll get you there. Deviating from that and doing your own thing, it's gonna have the opposite effect. I'd say just be disciplined and stick to the process.
Well, thank you, Thomas. It's amazing to be able to sit with you and to see the transformation you guys have created for yourselves. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your time, and for Samantha as well. And I'll see you soon.
No, thank you. Really.